Your last name is not just a label on your passport. It is a blood code, a fossil record of conquest, settlement, and survival. And if your surname is on the list you are about to hear, that code spells one word: Viking. Between the years 865 and 1066, Norse warriors did not just raid the British Isles. They stayed, they married, they ruled. And when the Danelaw, the vast territory of England under Scandinavian law, was finally absorbed, the Vikings did not vanish. They became English, but their blood remained, locked inside the surnames their descendants still carry. Some of those names are obvious, some hide in plain sight, and one of them, the most common on this list, will shock you. Today we are decoding 10 surnames, from number 10 down to number 1, that prove Viking warriors are sitting in your family tree. These are not legends. These are documented Old Norse roots, preserved in parish records, genetic studies, and the settlement patterns of the Danelaw itself. Each name on this list carries the linguistic fingerprint of the language spoken on longships and in Norse mead halls. And at the end, I will give you the key to trace your own surname back to its origin. If your name appears before we reach number 1, drop it in the comments. If it does not, write it anyway. It might be number 1 in the next video. Let's begin. Number 10. Story. If you carry this surname, your ancestors were not shopkeepers. Story comes from the Old Norse word stor, meaning large, powerful, or great. It was a byname given to men of imposing physical size or strength, the kind of warrior who stood head and shoulders above the shield wall. The surname appears densely in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, both heartlands of the Danelaw, and parish records show Story families clustered in villages that were Norse settlements in the 9th century. In the 1881 census of England, over 70% of Story households were concentrated in those two counties, a geographic signature that points directly back to Viking blood. Number 9. Kar. This one hides in plain sight. Kar comes from the Old Norse kjar, meaning marshland or wetland overgrown with brushwood. Viking settlers in northern England named their homesteads after the landscape, and those who lived near the marshy lowlands became known as Kar. The surname is most common in Lancashire, Yorkshire, and Durham, all regions where Scandinavian place names dominate. Today, genetic studies show that men with the surname Kar in northern England carry Scandinavian Y chromosome haplogroups at rates significantly higher than the English average. The Marsh remembers. Number 8. Gamble. It has nothing to do with dice or cards. Gamble is the English mutation of the Old Norse personal name Gamal, meaning old or aged. It was a name of respect given to a patriarch or elder chieftain. The Vikings who settled in the north carried this name, and by the 12th century it had become hereditary in Lancashire and Cheshire. The surname appears in the Domesday Book of 1086 in its Normanized forms: Gamel, Gamel, proof that families bearing this name held land immediately after the conquest. If your last name is Gamble, someone in your bloodline was old enough, powerful enough, or respected enough to be called the Old One by his kin. Number 7. Grime. This surname carries the shadow of Odin himself. Grime comes from the Old Norse personal name Grimr, which means mask or helmet. But in Norse mythology, Grimr was one of the secret names of Odin, the All-Father, when he walked disguised among mortals. Families named Grime are densest in Lancashire and the West Riding of Yorkshire, both deep in the Danelaw. The surname appears in medieval records as Grim, Grime, and Grimes, always in Norse-settled areas. To carry this name is to carry the echo of a god's alias. If your ancestors bore the name Grime, they named themselves after the most powerful and cunning deity in the Norse pantheon. Number 6. Not. Short, blunt, unmistakably Norse. Not comes from the Old Norse name Knútur, the same name borne by Canute the Great, the Viking king who ruled England, Denmark, and Norway in the 11th century. Knútur means knot, a symbol of strength and binding. The surname is most common in Lancashire, Yorkshire, and Cumberland, all regions where Scandinavian settlement was heaviest. In the Domesday Survey, landholders named Canute and Canute appear across the Danelaw, and by the 13th century the name had anglicized into Knot and Canute. Every time you meet someone with this surname, you are meeting a descendant of the same naming tradition that produced the most powerful Viking king in history. Number 5. Thurston. This surname is a living map of Viking England. Thurston comes from the Old Norse personal name Thorstein, Thor's stone. Thor is the thunder god, and stein means rock or stone. It was a name given to sons born into families who worshipped Thor, the protector deity of warriors and farmers. The surname is concentrated in Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, and Norfolk, all counties that were part of the Danelaw and where Norse settlers founded towns with names like Grimston, Thurston, and Normanby. Parish records from the 14th century show the name evolving through Thorsten, Turston, and finally Thurston. If you carry this surname, your bloodline worshipped the god of thunder. Number 4. Hobson. This one surprises people. Hobson means son of Hob, and Hob is the English shortening of the Old Norse name Hrothur, meaning fame or renown. It is a patronymic surname, meaning it literally identifies you as the descendant of a man named after glory. The name is overwhelmingly concentrated in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, and early records from the 13th century show it spelled as Hobson and Hobson. Genetic surname projects have traced Hobson lineages back to villages in the East Riding of Yorkshire that were founded by Danish settlers in the late 9th century. If your last name is Hobson, your ancestor was the son of a man whose name meant he was destined for fame. Number 3. Gunn, raw, uncompromising. This surname comes from the Old Norse word gun, meaning war or battle. It was not a metaphor. Gunn was a name given to warriors, to men whose profession was violence, and whose reputation was built on the battlefield. The surname is most common in Scotland, particularly in the Highlands and the Northern Isles of Orkney and Shetland, which were ruled by Norse jarls for over 5 centuries. But Gunn also appears in Yorkshire and Lincolnshire, carried south by Norse settlers during the Danelaw. In Iceland, the name Gunnar remains common to this day, a direct linguistic cousin. If your surname is Gunn, your ancestors did not farm, they fought. Number 2. Grimsby. Yes, the town, but also the surname. Grimsby means Grim's village, and Grim is the Old Norse name Grimr, once again, the secret name of Odin. The town of Grimsby in Lincolnshire was founded by Danish Vikings in the 9th century, and families who lived there took the town's name as their own. The surname appears in records across the Danelaw from the 12th century onward, always in areas of heavy Scandinavian influence. But here is the twist. Grimsby is not just a place name frozen in history. It is a living surname carried by families whose ancestors never left the land the Vikings claimed. If your last name is Grimsby, your family has been on that soil for over 1,000 years. And now, number 1. The surname that proves Viking blood flows in more families than any other on this list. The surname that is so common, so English-sounding, that most people who carry it have no idea they are descended from Norsemen. That surname is Johnson. Yes, Johnson. It means son of John, but here is what most people miss. The suffix son is not English, it is Scandinavian. The English patronymic was son of. Johnson in Old English would have been John's son, or Johnson, with a possessive. The bare son ending is pure Old Norse, Magnusson, Ericsson, Thorson, and Johnson. The son, patronymic, exploded in popularity in the Danelaw, where Norse naming customs dominated. Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire, the counties where Johnson is most common today, were the heartland of Scandinavian England. By the 14th century, the name had become hereditary, and Johnson families were recorded in parish registers across the north. Today, Johnson is the second most common surname in the United States, and among the top 10 in England. Genetic studies of men with the surname Johnson in northern England show elevated levels of Scandinavian Y-DNA haplogroups, particularly R1A, the marker most associated with Viking expansion. If your last name is Johnson, there is a statistical probability that a Norse warrior is in your direct paternal line. Your surname is not just a name, it is the last surviving evidence of migrations, conquests, and bloodlines that shaped the world you live in. The Vikings did not disappear, they became us. They became the names we carry, the DNA we inherit, the places we call home. If your surname appeared on this list, you now know something about yourself that most people will never discover. You are the descendant of warriors who crossed an ocean in wooden ships and claimed a kingdom. And if your name did not appear, drop it in the comments. Tell me what it is. because in the next video, it might be number 1. The blood remembers. And now, so do you.